And there has to be a nexus as well. Those are the things. That's the whole area of taking law together. And what's neat about this case, and I want to send you now into the case, and I want you to go to page 18. Page 18. Second paragraph below the three little stars. Go to line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Today, we correct course. Everyone see that? The United States Supreme Court acknowledged they made a mistake. They acknowledged for the last 25 years they've been doing something wrong. Now these are Harvard and Yale educated Supreme Court justices, the smartest people around. And they changed course. I'm highlighting this to you to say if the smartest people in the world who went to Harvard and Yale, who are brilliant, can get it wrong. You want to take a chance in a courtroom with some Florida judge that was a PI lawyer that went to Nova Law School? That got appointed because he knew someone? When you have your company's fortune on the line? Or do you want to try to settle a kind of deal? It's a crapshoot. It might be better than putting the ball and spinning the roulette wheel, is it red or black? But do you really want to take a chance? You see what I'm saying? And if you go down below that, everything we did before about the summary, the last couple of lines, was the same thing I had you look at in the summary syllabus. But it talks about physical taken, which is Loretto, Lucas type, the total regulatory, Penn Central, and then Nolan Dolan. Okay. What you need to know as a future real estate developer, future real estate investor, property manager, is government is the 800-pound gorilla that can hurt you. And the United States Supreme Court has passed a series of laws and rules through the cases to try to level the field. You know what I mean? And that's what they've done. So you look at these cases, it's trying to make it fair. Okay? You notice how the city manager called, yes sir, I had to be nice to them. Now just so you know, I think I went through this before. In Florida, most governments in Florida have what's known as a weak mayor. New York City has a strong mayor. What that means, not strength. The city manager of Homestead that called me runs the city. Actually Homestead is 7. The 7 elected officials in Homestead get elected, they hire a city manager, and they set general policy. Then the city manager hires everyone else. He or she runs the city, hires every planner, hires every policeman, every fireman, does everything administrative. New York City, they elect a strong mayor. There is no city manager. That mayor makes every decision. That mayor hires everyone. In Fort Lauderdale, if you're the planner director, and you get a phone call from the mayor, you could say, Mayor, thank you for the phone call. Please call the city manager. I only report to the city manager. That's how it should be done. And the mayor knows that. The mayor should not be calling staff. The mayor should be calling the city manager, because that's who you work for. But the real world, if the mayor calls, you're going to deal with it. But you need to know the difference between a strong mayor and a weak mayor. Just like you have to know the difference between home rule and Dillon's rule. What rules apply. So in Florida, Go count your 3 votes, go be nice to the politicians, you better suck up to the city manager. Because he can grind your project to a halt as well, or she. Okay, I want to talk about the Koonz case. K-O-O-N-T-Z. Florida, 2.5 years ago. 5-4 vote. If you know Orlando, it's where Colonial Drive, State Road 50, meets the East-West Highway 408. Okay? This basically takes Nolan and Dolan even further. Do we know what friends, family, and fish have in common? After 3 days, they start to stink. You don't want a guest to stay longer than 3 days. You don't leave the fish around more than 3 days. It's called a smell test. Courts apply this. These guys went to Harvard and Yale. They apply the smell test. They're human. Is it fair? This old man, Mr. Koonz, had 14.9 acres of land. He said to the government, I'm going to give you, government, 11.2 of those. I just want to develop 3.7 on the driest portion, going back to Graham versus Estuary. He wasn't the red mangroves. He wasn't the black mangroves. He was that questionable stuff. So what does the St. John's Water Management District do? Remember I told you last week? Federal government, state government, regional government, county, and then local. St. John's Water Management District handles Orlando. We have the South Florida Water Management District. You got to go to them. Remember, he owns roughly 15. He wants to develop about 4. He's going to give up 11. Not a bad deal, right? Well, the government says no. Of the 15 you have, we'll let you develop 1. We want you to give us 14. Not even my wife and daughter are that aggressive. Or, I'll tell you what, that's what we want. Or, if you want to develop your 4 and only give us 11, you can, but then you got to go 2 miles down the road and you got to go fix something else to help the environment. You're here at Nova, right? That'd be like me saying to you, you got to do all this Nova stuff I give you. And by the way, go to FAU over there, do something there, and when you're done with that, go to BCC. You say, well, what does it have to do with me getting an education at Nova? And this man, who's now dead, this case killed him, by the way, said, look, I own 15, I was going to give you 11, and we developed 4. It's an insult that you think that me only developing 1, or if I want to develop the 4, I got to go do something on site. I'm going to sue you. And he did. And he won a trial, and he won at the first appeal. But then he lost at the Florida Supreme Court. And then he appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court. And they took cert. And they overturned the Florida Supreme Court. 5-4 decision. It's a great case. Talks about all of the things we've spoken about. Nolan, Dolan, Loretto, Lucas, Penn Central. They're all there. Okay? And he basically says, and I'm not going to waste a lot of time late at night, but the Supreme Court uses, we all know about the mafia, right? They extort from people. The United States Supreme Court said this about the Florida government. Extortionary demands. Okay? Pretty strong. And you go through this, and there's great logic to it. And they now apply. See, if you look at the Nolan case, which was, you want to make your house bigger, then I need to have you give us some of your sand in the back. You want to make your hardware store bigger under Nolan? Then you got to give us a bike path. Now the Supreme Court said, you make somebody pay for a whole bunch of stuff they don't need to do 2 miles off site, we're still going to apply those cases. People like me got on their knees and said, yes, there is a God in heaven. The government said, I can't believe St. John's brought this case. It's going to hurt all of us. And we're still trying to figure out the outlay from this.
This was 2005?
No, this is 2013. This is 2 years old, 2.5 years old. Florida. We're still trying to figure out, people are going to... So now it's kind of like government says, well, what can I ask for? And again, I don't mind you asking because I want to develop. Just don't rape me. You know, kiss me, but don't abuse me. And it goes down to the balance. How far can you go? Because again, you're going to know more than your boss. Your boss is going to make more money. He's going to have the 7 Series BMW. You only have the 3, hoping to get the 5. He's not going to know about these cases. All he knows is he's reporting to the board of directors who expects you to have those 12 Starbucks open next quarter. He doesn't want to hear about Nolan, Dolan, but it's stuff that affects us. So it's a great case. I love it. Now, you go to the dissent here. Justice Kagan, a woman, used to work for the Obama administration. She used to represent governments. The dissent now starts on its own one page. So if you go to page 22 of the opinion, you see how it stops on page 22? Then it goes to page 1 of the dissent. I'm going to talk very big picture. She's a woman who worked for the Obama administration representing the government. It's real hard for her, when she puts her pants on every day, not to put the government leg on first and the private property leg on second. Where the people who wrote the majority opinion did not work for the government, and they're human, and they put the property rights leg on first, and then the government leg. Okay? You can't, no one is completely unbiased. You know? I've told you guys, you start at a C, have to work up, and the women start at an A, and they get A's. You know? Can't help it, that's how life is. We all have our bias in life. You know, I act like a tough guy, but my grandmother cleaned homes for rich people. I have zero disrespect and the highest level of respect for people who work minimum wage job. Nothing wrong with that. You know, but we all bring our own bias to the thing. You know, Justice Kagan was pissed. She wrote a dissent. Harvard or Yale graduate, smart woman. And you'll read her dissent. It's beautiful. It's brilliant. It's wrong, but she believes her arguments and she makes strong arguments. But what I'm trying to beat home to you again, do you want to risk your company's real estate project on a bunch of Harvard and Yale brain people? What way does it go? Settle, if you can. In hindsight, maybe you should have done the work off-site and build the 3 acres. Or just do the 1 acre. Because what good is it to win if the market's not changed on you? And Mr. Kuhn's case, You know you can't take it with you? He's dead. You know, my dear friend keeps reminding me, if I don't get the Porsche, my daughter will. So I might as well get it now.
So he won and then he died?
No, he died as the case was going through.
Oh, wow.
But his estate continues with it. Now, just so you know, my favorite law firm in the world is not Greenberg Traurig, even though I used to work there. It's called the Pacific Law Foundation. Non-profit, they don't charge their clients. Rich people give them money. And they're the ones that represent private interest. And there's people on the left that do this as well. So a lot of these big constitutional things are interest groups fighting it out. But what you need to know from these three cases, the Graham versus Estuary, you might own it, but you can't develop it. It's a balancing test. The Lingle case, if you go through it, gave you the framework that I said of Loretto, cable, physical taken, 100% physical. You realize this is a big room. This pen is 0.0000% of the room. But the minute I put it down on that space, it's 100% of that space. And I've 100% taken over that space. Government can't do that. That's why they cannot do that without paying. They might get a penny or a dollar, but government just can't come in and say, Mr. Nova, we're going to put a cable line. 100% physical taken. That's Loretto. 100% regulatory taken. Lucas. You own the beach lot, put a tent, look at the stars. Can't do that either. And in the middle is Penn Central. And I can't help you there. Because as I showed you in the cases, nobody knows. You know? Everything's context, everything's balance. The Kuntz case is in fact cutting edge stuff. And when I assigned it to you, I wanted you to have the most recent, the most current, until the Muir case came out. Now picture this. This just got decided. They haven't decided the case yet, but last Friday, they decided that they would take the case. Now these are the facts. Picture the most beautiful lake in the world. Make believe you had a near-death experience in your life flashed before your eyes. And you saw heaven, and it was a beautiful lake. Make believe that lake now is in Wisconsin. And there's 100 homes around the lake. And the Muir family owns 2 of them, and everyone else owns the other 98. And the government really doesn't want any more homes built there. And the Muirs own 2 next to each other. And when they bought them, let's assume they have lots 17 and 18. They could have built on 17 and 18, but they're humble people. They're hardworking people. They only bought 2, but they only built on 1. Another one they had for investment, leaving the kids. 20, 30 years go by. The government says the following. If you own 2, you can only build on 1. And if you own 2, you can only build on 1, and you can't sell your other one to someone else. That's lots 17 and 18. Lots 19 and 20 are owned by Mrs. Smith and Mrs. Jones. Not related. You get to build on 18, and you get to build on 19. But Mr. Muir is sitting here saying, well, you're not letting me build on my lot? It's no different than your lot or your lot, just because I own one next door. Ding, 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 equal protection. To me, I don't bet, but I would reach into my wallet, take out a $100 bill, and I would gamble that by June, it's going to be a 9-0 decision for the property owner. How can you tell the Muir family they can't build on their lot when you can build on your lots that are right next door exactly the same, and I can't even sell my lot to someone else?
Question.
Yeah.
How does the government come up with why
Because environmental people are trying to protect the environment and access, they don't want things.
But in my head, from a pedestrian perspective, it just sounds like they're coming up with,
They do.
okay.
They're liberals, they're Democrats, don't get me started. It's what they do.
Okay.
It's why Bernie, this is Bernie, this is Donald, this is Attila the Hun. I can't believe they're all human beings. They see the world completely different. Okay. I mean, it's how it is. Yes?
So if you have to go through 6 months, let's say, and hypothetically the owners win, how much does it cost them to go through the whole process?
Well, that's why the Pacific Law Group is going to pay the hundreds of thousands out of foundation contributions to do this, because that's how the government, that's why the Supreme Court helps property owners. If the city of Homestead wants to beat Peter Hen up, they can. They just raise taxes. They get 60,000 people funding taxes. Government can always outspend you. That's why public interest law firms help out.
Because it's not economical.
Yeah. But this is my situation. This is the point I'm trying to prove. I would bet $100 that this is going to be a 9-0 decision in favor of the property owner. Because how can... Come over here, because I want to see you here. Lots 17, 18, 19, 20. House here, vacant, vacant, vacant. They can build, they can build. I can't build here, and I can't sell to someone else. Equal protection. I don't know how anyone can make a distinction. I wanted them to see that.
So what's the justification that our lots can be built on?
Because the rules said if you own 2 lots side by side, you can only build in one. Okay, we get it. But then you can't even sell your lot ever again. They're making you take 2 half-acre lots and now make it a full acre. Because picture this, if there's 100 half-acre lots around the lake, and 50 people own them, 2 apiece, and all of a sudden you say you can only build on an acre, you've just cut the density in half. That's what the government's doing. They're trying to protect, this is the situation. Even I will acknowledge the following. Protecting a beautiful lake is a good thing. Okay? It gets down to who should pay for it. Should Mr. Muir have to subsidize the public's benefit, or should taxpayer dollars pay for that? So it's very simple. It's not a Loretto because they've not taken it. It's clearly a Lucas, right? It's a regulation that basically says you can walk on your land and look at the stars. You can't build. I don't know how it's different than Lucas. But even though I'm willing to bet $100, given the fact that Justice Keegan wrote the dissent in the Coons case 2 years later, no one should bet anything because you just don't know. They're smart people, they'll find something. The point I'm trying to make, remember I said to you, every lawyer has won something they should not have won and lost something? You don't want to gamble. And I always use this analogy. I sent my daughter to Europe over the summer. I'm willing to pay for her to fly across the Atlantic in a commercial airline. Right? It's a calculated risk. Yes, she could die, right? You can also die in a car. It's a calculated risk. I wasn't willing to pay for her to go skydiving, so she didn't tell me until she sent me the pictures after she already did it. That would not have been a calculated risk I'm willing to take. You as a real estate person should not be taking these type of risks. Because let me tell you something. This is where I'm now going to disrespect to the law industry. The practice of law is a business. There's no justice, it's a business. Most lawyers will say, yeah, we got a good shot. $100,000 retainer, $8.50 an hour, I'll go to the Supreme Court for you. Okay? You're not getting unbiased information there. Litigation lawyers make money by litigating. You go to a surgeon, what do they want to do? They want to operate. They're not going to give you 2 a leave and say go home and stretch. They want to cut me open. Give me a new hip. That's why I do yoga. I used to run marathons until I overran them and hurt myself. Now I do yoga because I don't want to get a hip replacement. Because the guy wants to have me do a hip replacement. You're not going to get real advice. But if you work for a business person, a board of directors and shareholders that have put money into you, do a real estate investment trust and make a return, you don't want to gamble in a courtroom. There's no such thing as a sure thing. Okay? So, you asked the question on the break, before the class started, how do you read these cases? We could have spent the entire time on one case. That's what law school does. My goal is to give you a flavor of this. I met you 3 weeks ago. Let's make the assumption none of you ever looked at a case before. 3 weeks later, you maybe just skim these, but you have a sense of what it is. It's a dispute. And why these cases matter is when the Muir case gets decided, I will bet this pinky, there's absolutely no way the lawyers, when they write their briefs and do their arguments, you know they're going to mention Lucas, right? How would you not mention Lucas? Because you would say, Your Honor, you and your fellow judges already decided this case in Lucas. I don't know why we're here. It's silly. People like to hear themselves, oh, that's right, we did decide that. We were smart. That's why you look at the cases. But they affect you. So this case on a lake in Wisconsin will affect you in South Florida once it gets decided.
Do we have that one?
Yeah.
I sent it out with an email.
The January 19th batch.
Batch.
What? January what?
19th batch. It's titled Land Use Law.
Oh,
It came out this week.
land use, okay.
I sent it to you. Now again, the way I look at this, and we're going to leave in 5 minutes. I've got to call the city manager. And I got to get the camera back, and I got to check on my dog.
City manager. That's the dog. Bump the wife.
She's there. At the end of the day, this is 8 weeks together. I feel sorry for the students that did it in the summer where it was 4 times, where they went from like 9 to 5. It was a lot of material. My job is to throw a lot of stuff at you. It's like Baskin and Robbins. There's 31 flavors. I'm going to throw all 31 flavors at you. As long as you can leave with 1 ice cream cone, I'm okay. But you then know where the other 30 flavors are. And you at least somewhere in the back of your mind have a framework. So if you're sitting there sweating a bullet, my God, I'm going to fail. I paid $34,000. I don't know why we're doing this stuff. I don't want to be a lawyer. That's not the goal. The goal is to get you to see another thing, okay? And the most important thing I've said tonight is you need to know, as a real estate professional, when to go down the hall and ask general counsel, or when to pick up the phone and call outside counsel for help. But if you don't know the issue, you won't know to do it. When you go to law school, every law student will say the following: we get trained to spot issues. When you go to a doctor, and you say, doctor, I got a rash, I'm coughing, I'm sneezing, and I'm seeing stars. Well, that doctor knows on those facts the issue is this thing, and then he knows what the cure is. My goal here is to expose you to legal aspects. So as you try to go down the road and do your pro formas, and do your site plans, and do your construction documents, and make money, you know that you're going to get hit from every possible way legally. And that's the only goal. So we've been through 3 of the classes. I told you we're doing next week the hypo on the Bert Harris together with the SMART growth. Week 5 will be a review of the book. Try to get through the book. If you can't, at least read every subsection from this one point of view. This is what I want you to do. Let's assume you say, look, I'm drowned in, I can allocate 32 minutes to the textbook and I'll come to class. If all you can do is allocate 32 minutes, look at each subchapter, heading. Ask yourself, do I know that or not? Was that part of the 130 things or not? Go, oh, okay, I think I got that, move on. And then hopefully it'll come together when we go through it again. When we get to week 6, that's kind of like, I kind of like tell you the nuts and bolts of what I do to try to get projects approved. And then week 7 is you're sitting up here showing me your PowerPoint of your project. You've got to go find something. You work for a company, use something that they're looking at. You're in a certain city, do that. But you need to know, look, let me tell you something. When the private equity firm that I work for, one of the, probably the largest in the United States, hired me, the headhunter told them the following about me. They can drop me on the moon and I can get the project approved. Okay? It's all the same. It's all different, but it's all the same. And in the last 3 years of my life, I've done stuff in Baltimore, Florida, Puerto Rico, Arizona, New York, you know, and wherever you go, you get dropped in, and you always know, okay, what's the comprehensive plan? What's the zoning code? Okay? Go talk to the city manager. Go talk to the planning director. Get a sense for what the neighbors are. Talk to the biggest broker in town and get the feel. You should be able to get dropped in some place in the Midwest, Nebraska, Kansas, some place that you've got to take 3 connections to get to, and the nicest hotel is a Holiday Inn. You should be able to end up there tomorrow and know how to do business. Because you know what? You might work for Walmart, who wants to open up there. And just because you work for Walmart, you still got to follow that community's rules. And my job is to teach you the framework, so you can go there. Any questions of me before we call it a night?
Okay, so for your PowerPoint, you're saying the outline you want us to follow is getting the comprehensive plan, looking at the zoning aspect, speaking with brokers, city manager.
No. For the project, you don't need to speak to anyone.
Okay.
Time management. Every project that gets approved in South Florida is done publicly. And you have the right to those public records. I want you to say, wow, there's a new mixed-use project down the street from me. It used to be a beat-up Winn-Dixie. Go get the files. See what the comprehensive plan was. Do they need to change that or not? Do they need to do a rezoning or not?
Right.
Do they need to change the site plan or not? Did the neighbors come out? All of that's public records. I need you to dig into a project. Because a project that you dig into me and then report to the class is to give you training, because you're going to get thrown things at you, if you do real estate, from all over the place. Okay? And that's the only goal. The goal is for you to feel that you can go to any jurisdiction, anywhere, and get a lay of the land for the project. And as I tell my students in the planning class, there's no right or wrong answer to this unless you put a cement factory next to the school. That's wrong. Or next to a home. Besides that, a lot of it is give and take. It's balance. It's what does the neighbors want? And maybe apply the smart growth. It's an opportunity for you to learn something. Because let me tell you something. I'm not going to say this is the most important class in this program. That'd be very foolish of me to say. Because clearly you've got to learn how to do your pro formas. You're going to learn the big picture. You gotta learn market studies. But at the end of the day, if you don't have the engine in the car, I don't care how good it looks. If you don't have your zoning, your site plan, and permission to go, you're gonna sit there with a beautiful Bentley waxed, looks great, can't get out of the driveway. So you need to know this stuff. Unless all you do is buy existing properties, operate them better, and flip them. But even then, you're gonna want to renovate. What do you do when Whole Foods says to you, we want to add on? You gotta know how to do with the government. It's gonna affect your density, might affect your floor area ratio. What happens if all of a sudden, Walmart's getting their ass kicked by Lowe's and Home Depot's outdoor garden centers, and now Walmart wants to add an outdoor garden center? Well, it may not be as easy as you think. You have to go through hurdles, amend site plans, maybe another public hearing. That's the goal, to get you comfortable with all this stuff. Okay, I will see everyone next week. Be well. Maybe if I send you any, I will try to send only one more email this week. And if I send the one,
Some of us almost died by email.
I didn't hear any this time.
it's because I love you. I give you a flavor.
I just want to know, did you drink a cup of coffee again?
I always drink coffee.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
I
You
figured
did
that's
that.
a burst of energy.
Around 2 p.m.
Okay. But wait, listen to this. I will try to get an email out to you where I draw out the properties on the hypo. It's not super clear, and I don't want people to go the wrong way. So if you get one email from me, open it, it would be a sketch to say, look at it this way. Thank you.
So how many other
I develop wherever I have to go. I've developed California, Chicago, LA, San Francisco, Baltimore, New York, throughout Florida, Puerto Rico, Caribbean. No, I can't speak Spanish.
Don't remind me.
Hi. Yeah, there's a lot going on downtown. There's a lot going on. They want to bring people back. They want to make it 24/7 community. Okay, great. Whatever's going to get you comfortable. Great.
And then they went to Brooklyn. They went to Brooklyn.
Anyway, for those of you who care, the heat is working in my house because it's going to snow for the next 48 hours and it's going to be in the teens. So my dog will be okay. Thank you.
I guess your wife will be too.
It's a cute dog. I'll bring PowerPoint pictures next week of the dog for you.
PowerPoint.
We have a couple left, and I tell my husband that the dog owns them. We don't own the dog, the dog owns them.
The only reason I'm still married is because we both want the dog. How did everyone's cocktail party go last week after class? Did you go out for the cocktail?
Yeah, we went out playing against. It's good. Except there was no parking there, and the whole parking